Exactly 6 o'clock, Tuesday, May the 23rd, 2023. I'd like to call this meeting of the Montgomery City Council into session at this time. Thank you for tuning in from the outside and those with us tonight, taking an interest in our city. We appreciate that. We'd ask that you turn off any devices that may give interruption to our meeting, silence your phones and such, so that we may proceed without those interruptions. We do have a quorum tonight. With Ms. Pat Easley not here at this time. And so with that, I'll invite you to join me in the invocation and the pledge to the flags. Dear Heavenly Father, we acknowledge our need for mercy, our joy that we have in your grace, and we want your mercy and grace upon our city, our institutions, our families, our area. Thank you for protecting us from some really bad weather that could have made some damage and possibly did. We ask for your protection upon them and provisions for protection and safety going forward. We thank you for the rain that we've had. We thank you for the sunshine. May we be a grateful people as we move on and proceed with the goings-on of this city. We pray for your wisdom and your guidance in all things. And may all that we do is speak, bring glory to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
To the American flag, pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To the Texas flag,
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
we have an election, so item one for us tonight is to install our newly elected officials. So I'd ask, start with Ms. Carol Henley, position one. Not new, but another go around. If you raise your right hand, please. And repeat after me. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas. In the name and by the authority
of the state of Texas.
I
Carol Langley,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of council member of the city of Montgomery
the council member of the city of Montgomery
of the state of Texas and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. Welcome. We knew she would get one vote, Jane. Repeat after me. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I,
Sarah Countryman,
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of council member of the city of Montgomery of the state of Texas and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God.
So help me God.
Too late. Raise your right hand. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
in the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
I
I, Stan Donaldson,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of council member
the duties of the office of council member
of the city of Montgomery
of the city of Montgomery
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
We want to picture that. Yeah.
Do we need to have a password? We do need to have a password, do you know? Do you know it?
Look, Diana, is there
Look up
a
under-
or
Do you
Dave?
know the password? Or is it that? Okay, thanks. What about Stan? Does he have one?
Stan, is yours up? Or Keep it on.
You got yours working. You got yours working.
Just pause just a second. Make sure everybody's up. All right, item 2 is recognition of outgoing Councilmember Patricia Easley. She was not able to be here tonight, but we will be presenting her a plaque acknowledging and appreciating her service to us during this past year. All right, item 3, consideration and possible action to elect the mayor pro tem for the term of 1 year as provided by Texas Local Government Code 22.037B. Council, I'm taking recommendations.
I make a recommendation, we consider the possible action to elect Mayor Pro Tem Casey Olson for the term of 1 year as provided by Texas Local Government Code 22.037B.
Nomination by Cheryl, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second is by Carol, motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. All in favor of making Casey Mayor Pro Tem, say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. And the motion carries unanimous. Congratulations, I think. This works left hand or right hand, so just take it whenever. All right. Visitors, citizens forum, Diana, anyone signed up to speak? Or Caleb, anyone?
Well, that was a hot minute, those three.
Volume.
It's hard to hear you.
People can't hear in the back. No.
We're pausing just a second for a volume check.
We don't have a way to turn it up. I guess.
No way to turn it up?
Talk louder, maybe.
All right, everyone talk louder, all right? Anyway,
Just yell at each other.
yeah. So no one signed up at the visitors forum, correct? All right. So we'll go on to the consent agenda. I think we already know we have something on item 4, approval of the following. Letter A, City Council and Zoning Board of Adjustment meetings did not have the appropriate date. Do I have a motion on 4A?
I would like to table item 4A due to the date of the minutes being wrong.
Do we need to assign the date of the next meeting to that? Typically, in a tabled situation, you would do that?
If you're going to table it, I mean, you don't have to do anything. We can bring it back. You don't have to
Yeah,
take any
okay.
action.
So we don't have to express, table it for June 13th?
No.
Okay, so we can bring it up at any time then. So we have a
We'll bring it
motion to table. We have a second?
I second.
Second is by Cheryl. Motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. All in favor of tabling item 4A, City Council Zoning Board of Adjustment meetings, say yes.
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 Anyone opposed, say no. And we will table item 4A. Item 4B, special city council meeting minutes, 5/15/2023. We have item 5, utility billing report, and item 6, sales tax report. What's the council's pleasure on these items?
I had a question on miscellaneous on the utility general fund report, the Flexos. That used to be segregated out, just so we know, is the community center getting a lot of traffic? And if so, we need to make sure that we have the right improvements, or do we need to add things, or does it get printed out once a month?
Okay.
We can make that change on the upcoming.
Okay.
Great.
Any other questions?
And where does that miscellaneous money go? Sorry, does that go to general fund? Is that why that says that, general fund? Just double check.
Yeah, for
All of those funds do? Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions or anything individually? If not, I entertain a motion to approve items 4B, item 5 and item 6 under the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve items 4B, 5, and 6 on the consent agenda.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Second is by Carol. Motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. All in favor of approving items 4B, item 5, and 6 on the consent agenda, say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. We will approve. Consideration possible action, item 7, consideration possible action on the application for a city alcoholic beverage permit for H Bistro.
Thank you, Mayor. In your package, you should have the application from the owner-operator of H Bistro, Mr. Steve Harry. Mr. Harry had approached the city about this application and permit. We informed Mr. Harry he needed to get the permit from the state first. Is it state or county, Dave? The Texas Alcohol Board, or is that through the county? State. So you need to get a state permit first before he applies with us. He didn't come back to us to get the permit. Somehow we found out through code enforcement, talked to Mr. Harry. He has applied. That's what's before you tonight. So now he is fully in compliance with our ordinance, and we recommend approval.
So I've never seen somebody open without getting approval before coming to council.
Yeah, should be doing it.
Okay. Was it us that failed, or?
No, as far as I know, we told Mr. Harry he had to get the permit from the state first, and then he's got to reapply with us as part of our application process. He did do that, but he just never came back and finished the application with us.
That was a different, I talked to him earlier today, and that was a different story than what I.
Is he here?
He's
He's here, he's right here.
If you want to come up
Would
to
you
the
like to
podium.
approach the
yes.
podium,
Tell us
state your
story.
name, address, or of your business, I suppose? and-
Is working? No? All right. Okay, I'm Steve Harry. This is my wife, Stephanie Harry. We got another business partner, Ever and Harold Banks. And we're starting the LLC for H Bistro. It was last year on 22 in August. And we decided to open a new business here in downtown Montgomery. It was in February 23rd. And I was coming here, first thing, because I knew the regulation, to asking to Nicole, the secretary for the city of Montgomery, the process to do the application for H Bistro, because it's a full bar concept with a mixed beverage. And I coming here, I got the paperwork here, everything. And we starting to do the application to get the approbation come from the city of Montgomery, and I got the letter here. what I gave to my assistant in the city of Conroe. She did application for TABC permit. And this is a stamp for the city of Montgomery and the signature for Nicole on it. Just to say, yes, you can make your application for TABC. And I asked her, I said, oh, I'm so surprised because I know the regulation. Usually we pass first here to explain the business. And she said, no, doesn't matter. And she did it. She gave me, and I gave to the person take care for me to do the permit. After, I think so, I didn't make something wrong, you know. And Dave was here. I don't remember if Dave remember when I asked to Nicole. I was so surprised I not passed to the board. But I don't make something wrong for me. That's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And after, you know, I follow the process, health department, fire code, a certificate of occupancy for the city of Montgomery, everything, you know, for the certificate of occupancy of the city of Montgomery here, the KBC license, the health department permit, the sales tax, fire code, everything. And we're starting with these things, the first for the city of Montgomery before we apply for this.
Yeah, so I think it was just miscommunication. We were
Okay.
supposed to come back with the information, never did, so we never issued a permit.
No worries. We have one now though, right?
they go one.
Everything's golden?
He's
And
in
you
power
are
now,
correct.
so the city council has to issue the permit.
Okay, very
Yes.
good.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Appreciate it.
Should we do this right?
Entertain a
Yeah.
motion on item 7.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the city alcohol beverage permit
Motion's by
for
Carol.
H Bistro.
Okay, motion's by Carol. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second's by Casey. Motion's debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. All in favor of approving item 7 as stated, say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. And we will approve item 7 as stated.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
So,
Appreciate you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Item 8, consideration possible action on certificate of substantial completion, commencement of 1-year warranty period, certificate of construction completion, and acceptance of the water plant number 3 generator addition project, GLO CDB G-DR, contract number 19-076-017-B366 water facilities. That's a load.
Mayor, thank you. Council, so what this is, as you may recall, so we have the installation of a standby generator or a backup generator at Water Plant 3 that was part of the GLO project. That project is now complete, and the engineer's memo, along with the project engineer's memo, is included in there, and we'll be happy to answer any thoughts or questions that you have.
The punch list for this, it was all completed? 100%?
There's still a warranty period, so what came up since this punch list was there was a fuel gauge issue. Contractors were going to manufacture the digital and the mechanical. But I think there's that, and they're still working on insulation panels inside the generator all down, so they're contractors on that as well, as a warranty for that.
So if we accept the warranty and start the warranty period before they actually fix all this stuff,
So the warranty starts at substantial completion, and which was deemed back in February, I believe, is when it was operational. So it was put in service and set and available for use back in February, and then so that's when the warranty period starts. So it's just accepting and closing out the project, which is what GLO has a timeline. So it doesn't change contractor's obligation, it doesn't change any of that. He still has to complete the work in the contract, which he's done, and continue to service for the 1 year, anything that comes up.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, entertain motion to approve item 8.
I'd like to make the motion to approve item number 8 as presented.
Motion by Sarah,
I'll second.
second by Carol. Motion's debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. All in favor of approving item 8 as read, say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. We will approve item 8 as read. Item 9, consideration possible action on the grant completion report for GLO CDBG, can do this again, dash DR contract number 19-076-017-B366.
Mayor and council, with apologies for the very specific agenda wording there that makes you have to repeat all those numbers. This was given to us by our grant manager. The information that's included in there is just a very high-level summary of the figures, the contracts. One piece of information that the grant manager is still confirming is whether or not there were 110 versus 122 beneficiaries. We had one number on our grant application, another one on what's called a performance survey from when the project started. So Anna's going back to look at those 2017 documents to determine which one was right. We know the right one, it's just I'm not sure if it's the 110 or 122.
And so council knows I've been corresponding with Dave. Dave and Gary both been keeping me in the loop, and there was a timeline that we were aware of, and for that reason I was making sure, double checking that this was just a matter of basically semantics and dotting every I and dotting the T, well, whatever you do to the T's. Anyway, so there's a couple of people involved there corresponding, so it's been kind of a keeping Dave hopping, I know, back and forth, and the staff, so I don't see any problems with this.
Does this close out that whole GLO project?
It does not officially close it out, it's just a step along the way to get there.
I don't know if there's any more left.
But it doesn't close it out.
No.
No, it does not finish it off.
It's just a grant completion report.
This is one of the documents that Anna has to submit to the GLO to close the project out, but there's really not a one, at least that I'm aware of, it's, there's not a one, document that you submit. We have to have a certain number of steps done by June 30th, and then the GLO has maybe 45 or 60 days to review all that paperwork and find everything out. And again, this wasn't a report that staff put together. This was from Anna, who said, hey, we need this as part of our closeout docs.
I am generally opposed to signing documents that aren't complete. And I think the only reason I'll let it go this time is because the mayor said it was an insignificant thing, but I don't care for documents that aren't complete. And like the mayor said, I want every T crossed and every I dotted. And, this project's been going on for a whole year, and yet now we're coming to the end of it and we still can't complete a document. Somebody created that document and they put that in there for a reason. Personally, after reading it up, I'm kind of interested in how it filled out and how it's arrived at. But irregardless, I don't think it's a good practice to sign documents that aren't completed. But like I said, I'm willing to pass on, and I'm new. I'm still learning, and but normally I wouldn't go for this. But just because of the mayor's intervention, I'm going to let it pass.
I would agree with you 100%. I got this on Friday about 4:45. Had either to not get it on the agenda. My understanding was this was it for Anna. She needed it on this agenda, so I do take, full responsibility and apologize.
No problem. I appreciate your candor. I appreciate your candor in this evening for letting us know. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And this is actually GrantWorks that's telling you
Yes, ma'am.
we need to do this
And that's
tonight,
Ms. Gomez.
Yes, ma'am.
Grant work.
not the GLOW people.
Right. This isn't coming from the GLO. This is a document that our grant manager is completing or filling out to submit to the GLO. So this is from GrantWorks.
Okay. No other questions? Entertain a motion on item 9.
What's the public hearing about?
There is a public hearing that Anna tells me is required to close out a grant. It's based on your citizen participation plan that you submit at the beginning of the grant. I'm not familiar with it. I wasn't around when we submitted that,
Right.
or in terms of staff, but so we hold one public hearing to finish things out. That's going to be on June 1st here at 5 o'clock. It has to be after 5 o'clock, so we're going to hold it at 5, and it'll be me and Anna on the phone. If anyone has any comments that they'd like to make.
Any motions?
I'll make a motion to approve the grant completion report.
Motion by Casey. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second is by Carol. The motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote.
I know how the deadlines are on the grants. I'm not comfortable with her waiting till Friday afternoon, and if I would have thought that she was where I could reach her, I would have talked to her, so, thank you.
Yeah, none of us are happy with
Yeah.
how this went down.
No,
It's hadn't been smooth.
but I do understand deadlines.
Any other discussion? Ready for the question? All in favor of approving the grant completion report, item 9, say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. And we will approve the grant completion report, item 9. Item 10, consideration possible action authorizing the city administrator to approve expenses to replace a booster pump and motor at Water Plant 3.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have the item in front of you. Booster pump went out at Water Plant 3. We did receive 3 quotes from 3 different companies. Believe it or not, the replacement is actually cheaper than rebuilding the pump. The motor, we are recommending going ahead and replacing it because it is right at the 50% mark of the cost to replace it versus rebuild it. So we always, usually our threshold is 50%. If it's at least that much to rebuild it, and we recommend going ahead and replacing it. With the summer months coming, we did look at the possibility of would it be smarter to go ahead and pay a little bit more to have it rebuilt on the pump if we could have it installed quicker, but the timeline is actually longer to have it rebuilt than it is to buy a new one. So we're spending less money and getting it installed quicker by going with a new pump. That's either one of the timelines puts us through the end of the summer though, so we are looking at the possibilities of getting a rental pump put in place just to get us through the heat of the summer. So we don't have an answer on that yet, but we will. But we need to get a authorization to get going on the replacement of this.
Remind me where water plant number 3 is located?
1097.
Westmore.
Yeah. Business Park Drive.
Yeah,
Park
Yes,
Drive
ma'am.
there.
thank you.
So the pumps, are they interchangeable between stations?
No, they're not. The 3 pumps that are on site at that plant are the same, but they're not the same as Water Plant 2.
So would it pay to rebuild it and keep it as a spare?
It's possible, but I mean, as you can see, the rebuild price is actually more expensive than.
So if we buy a new one and you rebuild one for 50%, you keep it as a spare, as a backup? So we're not, because of the lead times that we're looking at, right?
Yeah. Well, this one to actually rebuild the pump itself is actually more expensive than just buying a new one.
Okay. Well, because it said 47% and looking
On
at
the motors, on the motor itself.
the windings.
Yeah. So if you look at the breakdown of the cost, let's see, the motor itself is $2361 to repair the motor. And then
Yeah, so like the quotes they don't make a lot of sense. So the quote for the new pump, it says new pump and rebuild motor for 21. And then the top one's about rebuilding. That's why I was like, okay, I went with the 47% because I assumed I'm missing something.
Yeah. The cost of the new motor is a little over $5,000. And I'm with you, I don't see that on the sheet. It might have only been on the email that was sent to me. But the cost of buying the new motor is a little, or the new pump is a little over 21 versus 23 to rebuild it.
Gotcha.
On the second page, I see it says quote good for 30 days. I know we've been caught before. It says it's 21,775. What happens when but it also says it's a 12 to 14 week lead time. Do we lock in the price when we say go, or do
Yes.
do we get the price when it gets delivered?
Now, as soon as we tell them go, then we lock in the price.
Right.
And the quote was provided on the 8th of May, so we're well within
Right.
30 days.
And then the other thing that kind of struck me as odd is the budget. The budgeted amount was 250,000.
That's the R&M
Okay,
budget time that this item would come out of.
gotcha.
Did this go out to RFP, or just so it wasn't, okay.
No, we received 3 quotes on it.
Why weren't the other 2 quotes added for us to see? I didn't see them in the packet.
No other reason other than just trying to keep it to a minimum. I mean, I can email those to y'all if y'all would like to see them, but they are. I just gave the summary of each and then provided the quote that we're recommending going with, because they are the same. It's the quote for the same services. But I'd be happy to forward the email to y'all if y'all would like them.
Every water well that we have has a booster pump.
Say that one more time?
Every water well that the city has a booster pump.
Yes, sir. Yes, multiples.
What does the booster pump do?
It supplies the pressure to the system.
Okay, and so it's a necessary item that needs to be replaced right away.
Yes, sir.
So we need to rent one, don't we?
We
You have back.
It would be smarter to rent one, yes, sir, with the summer months coming. If it was at the end of the summer and we were rolling into winter, it would feel a lot more comfortable with just relying on the 2 that are there, but with the heat of the summer coming, demand going up, would definitely feel better with having all 3 of them there.
The way that it's designed is the plants and the equipment's designed to have one pump, the largest pump out of service. And so that's, you're required by the state to have that redundancy. But it's just, like Mike's saying, during the summer months, we use up our redundancy, so having that rental in, to have that redundancy back against the heat and summer.
Down to a single point of failure.
That's it. Okay.
Is that rental charge in here? I didn't see it.
No, we have not received the price for a rental charge yet. This is just to approve the purchase of the new one and get the ball rolling on it, and we are working on pricing on a rental to see what it would run.
So if we rent one, then we're gonna have to use Elite or some other company to install it. Is that correct? I mean, we're getting bids from companies to put in a brand new one, and so now we need a rental unit. Who's gonna put it in?
The company that we would rent it from would put it in.
Oh.
That would be part of their services, is coming out, installing it, and then we would pay for a rental until the new one comes in. They would come and take it back out of service.
Oh, good.
So we don't have any numbers on that at this time.
All right, no further discussion. I entertain a motion on item 10.
I make the motion to authorize the city administrator to approve expenses to replace a booster pump and motor at water plant number 3.
I second.
Motion by Carol, seconded by Cheryl. The motion is debatable, amendable, requires a majority vote. All in favor of approving item 10 as stated, say yes.
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 Anyone opposed, say no. And we will approve item 10 as stated. Item 11, consideration possible action on change order number 4 and the certificate of acceptance for the water plant number 3 improvements project.
All right, good evening. Starting on page 97 of your packets, you'll see the cover memo, followed by a memo from us and a change order. So what this is you've had 2 water plant projects going on at the same time at Water Plant 3, the GLO funded one, and the TWBD, the Texas Water Development Board funded project. That project was deemed substantially complete back in August of 2022. Since then, the contractor has been not physical punch list items, but getting in the final O&M manuals, as-built drawings, and in negotiations regarding this change order that's in front of you tonight for a decrease of $48,662 to the contract. What that is mainly from, of the $43,612, is due to a deduction due to damage that was occurred to one of the cooling towers. So during construction, they shut a valve, they didn't turn off the motor. The motor pumped against the closed valve and burned itself up, which caused a handful of other issues. So the city incurred a cost of $48,000 to repair that pump and miscellaneous equipment that went with that. And so this is taking it out of their contract as damages for that amount. So the 2 items for you tonight is approval of change order number 4, which is a decrease of $48,662.93, which reduces the total contract amount from $1,028,675 to $980.12. This project is complete, so we also have the the certificate of acceptance for you, officially deeming the project complete. Again, this was already in substantial completion. The 1-year warranty was already set. So here in the next few weeks, next few months, we'll have a 1-year warranty inspection with the contractor and have them address any warranty items that come up.
All right. Council have any questions? All right, I entertain a motion on item 11.
I approve the motion to change order number 4 as presented and accept the public water infrastructure.
Motion by Sarah, do I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by Cheryl. The motion is debatable, minimal, requires majority vote. All in favor of approving item 11 as stated, say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. We will approve item 11 as stated. Item 12, consideration possible action on a resolution supporting the City of Montgomery's application to TxDOT's 2023 Transportation Alternatives Set-Aside Call for Projects.
Mayor and council, you may recall the city submitted 2 years ago for a TxDOT grant for 2 sidewalks. We were told that we got very close, but we did not get awarded either project. In a follow-up meeting with TxDOT, they had explained to us, one was the scope of the project, the number of beneficiaries or the number of folks that it served, as well as lack of having something in a formal plan. We touched on this in the joint workshop from a few weeks ago that, to go after some of these grant funds, you need a planning document or something that's approved that you can say, that you can point to and say, this is an important feature for our city. We've planned for it, we've thought about it, and now we're applying to get it funded to build it. So in meeting so earlier this year when TxDOT announced their call for projects, I spoke with Ryan Lundeen, who's on the MEDC. He's an engineer for Half and Associates, and he said, hey, look, I've got a grant team that would love to just, give you some thoughts on it, what you're considering applying for. So spoke with them. They said, look, so the numbers, the reality of the numbers, if you don't have this in a plan, you can have the best, project in the world. It can be exactly what you need, but you're not going to get it funded. As you see in the memo, 20% of the scoring criteria is based on whether or not there's a formal planning document that has the project in it. This year, based on the numbers that we got from TxDOT, there's going to be 85% of the projects submitted are not going to get funded. That means you've got to score every possible point. The only way to do that is with a plan. So what staff is proposing is that we develop an active transportation mobility plan that will identify non-roadway pathways, trails, that type of transportation, which will set us up so it's an 80-20 match, so we would be liable for 20% of that. Based on the estimates that I've got, you know, we should plan on a $120,000 project, which would put our local match at $24,000. That would be, that's obviously, that's not in the budget this year. Their timelines for these plans are about 2 years, so it would be something that we would, if you approve this, we would be coming back in the budget cycle to ask for the money for the plan in that budget cycle. But what this resolution does is it's part of the detailed application that you submit. And again, this affirms that the city, you know, understands that that they would be responsible for 20% of this plan document cost.
Now, who's going to do this plan?
This would be something that we would RFQ.
You have time for this?
Yes, ma'am. In terms of the staff time that it needs, I don't anticipate doing things more than, you know, organizing meetings, you know, making communications, but not, this wouldn't be a staff-led or staff, you know, driven in terms of the workload.
But I mean, we have time to do the plan once, if we decide to approve this tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Then we go into the plan phase.
Right.
And we have time to do that because
Right,
we
so
don't already have a plan, right?
Right. So the timeline, the overall timeline for the grant, so June 5th is when the detailed applications are due. I believe they award projects in late September, early October, you know, timeframe. So we're not right around the corner from starting this project.
We'll basically have 2 years to get our act together before we can apply again.
Right.
Gotcha.
Well stated.
This is, according to what I read though, this money is for non-roadway projects, is that correct?
It is. So it would fund sidewalks, trails, crosswalks, things that are non-motorized transportation.
Could use some sidewalks.
And crosswalks.
Yeah, crosswalk sounds good.
Good enough.
Okay. Any further questions? All right, okay, motion on item 12.
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution supporting the city's application for TxDOT's 2023 Transportation and Alternatives Call for Projects.
Motion by Casey, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, I'll take by Carol. Motion is debatable, amendable, requires a majority vote. All in favor of approving item 12 as stated, say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. We'll approve item 12. Thank you. Departmental reports, item 13, municipal court report. Kimberly?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. The court collections for April 2023 citations were 91, and the revenue was $24,358.01. Are there any questions from this report?
How is your new employee doing, Kim?
She's doing wonderful. She's
Good.
catching on very well.
Good.
Yes, very good.
Helping out.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 14, Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have the monthly report in front of you. Be happy to answer any questions you have related to it.
Is that
Nothing down
potholes
here.
6 feet long in front of, on Liberty?
Say that one more time.
You talked about TxDOT, you got in touch with TxDOT about the Liberty pothole, Liberty Street pothole? It's huge.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, so that surfaced originally about a month ago. The school called us on it. We went out and just sat on the side of the road till TxDOT showed up, showed them what we had found, and we come back Saturday and they had basically stuffed a bunch of dirt in it and tried to fill it in, which understandably, to replace those culverts, which is probably what it's going to take, it's a big undertaking, and I'm afraid it's probably going to end up in a road closure with a detour. Yeah, so.
I was just
but
wondering,
we'll
we're going to
get-
be on the hook for it because I don't know how, TxDOT hasn't been real quick to respond to the city of Montgomery.
Yeah.
And so that's substantial too, and I can only see it getting worse.
Well, when it surfaced again this time, we contacted them, they came back out, and what we were told in the field was that they were having trouble securing a contractor to perform the work. So for the permanent fix, that's to dig it up and replace it. As many holes as are in that area, because it wasn't just the one, it was several little holes that you could step in,
Yeah.
which means that there's a lot of damage to that culvert. It's going to be a big job. So luckily it's not ours to tackle, but
You get the
but
call
yeah,
though,
it's-
don't you?
it's a big hole. So
Yes, it is.
we're keeping an eye on it just as so we can relay information if we see it start to fail. But
I mean, Gary, would we take over if if it takes 2 years to get that mitigated? Would we be able to pinch it for them?
I think it would be a discussion with TxDOT to see if they would allow us even to do that, and then we would have to pay for any improvements, of course, so.
Thankfully, it's
It's been
summer, but if their timeline is what I've seen,
And if I'm TxDOT and I have a city that wants to do a repair, I'm gonna be all about it.
yeah, okay.
Mike, you don't have, they gave you no timeline, right?
no, ma'am, they did not.
What did we come up
I
with
would believe they gave you anyone.
Klepper and the way it's collapsing there by Jim's?
So we received, there's a company that we did work with last year called Pave Connect, and we found them through an existing cooperative purchasing agreement that we have with Omnia. We utilized them last year, and they did good work. We came out and had them look at a couple of spots this year, and the grand total that I got for all the work, which was some work on Klepper, some work on Caroline, was $494,000. So we are getting some more quotes from different companies to see. Asphalt paving quotes are tough. You don't get a lot of responses. So Eric is getting some more quotes right now from some people because we don't even have that in the budget for this year to be able to do it. But yeah, it was. I was not expecting that number. I was expecting maybe half of that.
Repeat the number again?
494 off the top of my head.
$500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do have a sidewalk on Clinton.
Well, we do. Yeah, so we are exploring other companies to see about getting the work done.
We need to make a note in our budget workshops that that road's been layered and layered and layered and layered. So it probably needs to, we may have to end up going to the substructure of it to keep it from collapsing again and again and again. We need to get it fixed.
Yep.
So when Mike Metter was in office, he had a guy that worked for him named Tracy. I can't remember Tracy's last name, but he was a street guru. I mean, the guy, that's all he had done his entire career. I think he's at Precinct 3 now. He would come out and look at roads with me, make suggestions on what needed to be done, this and that. And being that the town is black gumbo, he told me the only way to correct the problem for good is to dig it down about 5 feet and replace the base 5 feet deep, which, I mean, the cost on that is, would be insanely high.
Is there a
So-
grant?
Yes, because there are 5 grants.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but,
No.
but yeah, the heat of the summer, that black gumbo, it shrinks, then it expands, and it's going to be a never-ending battle in this town. One decent alternative is to do concrete instead, but even then with the black gumbo, it's still not great. And then you have to consider, do you do curb and gutter? What options do you do on that? Not saying it's not doable, it's just streets are...
Instead of having to continually fix it every 3 to 4 years, we may look at just replacing it in pieces.
And Klepper fell apart quick. I mean, we had crack sealed it, I think, 2 years before that, and didn't notice anything near that. But that heat of last summer and the drought just took its toll on it.
Gary, is that something we could partner with MEDC on, since it's kind of in the central business district, and like we pay half and they pay half?
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah.
Possibility.
Okay.
They do have a budget line item for infrastructure. and not being MEDC, I don't know what those stipulations are, but I know they do have I believe it's a $200,000 line item for
Okay.
infrastructure.
Okay. We just need to make sure we bring it up during the budget.
Yep.
Does the county do any type of asphalt repairing or
So-
helping with the streets?
We have an interlocal with the
Interlocal?
county. It's something that we have requested before, and we just need to work on that relationship. Because the interlocal does not say that they have to come do it. It
Well,
just says
that's
that we
true.
can ask and,
Right.
you know, and it's always been
Right.
tough fitting it in. We got lucky the one year whenever COVID hit, we got some work done, but I had talked to Mike Metter about that, and he actually told me, his words were, I need some stuff for my guys to do, so I would love to come do this for
Right.
y'all, because he was paying his guys salary regardless, so it actually helped him with us supplying some of the money for materials. But we're always on their timeline. I do think that is overall our best course of action, is utilizing the county. We got to get that relationship to where if we call and ask, or, you know, we have to do a resolution for it.
Correct.
Back in I'll say the good old days, it was just a couple of years ago, but we could just send a letter over, an email to Mike Metter and say, hey, could you do this? But they want it, understandably, they want it done by the books now, which is by resolution.
Right.
But Mike, when y'all go to repair the road, because going back, 40 years probably, the major part of that road was when the elementary school was there and all the buses were going down that road. So surely when we go to repair it this time, though, we'll make sure that we're not going to step over a dime, a dollar to pick up a dime. So we want to make sure that it's something that will see us way into the future, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
I hope.
which is why I'd like to see it on the budget, so we can make it a
And I know the
project.
budget sounds fast, but I'd rather pay more money up front than I would 3 times that down the road.
Even if we replace it in sections.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
because that road had lots of damage from those buses.
And it gets a lot of traffic.
And only getting more.
It's going to get more.
Yeah. Well, we're working on some quotes right now from it, so what I can do is I can ask for a quote on, just for Klepper, on what it would take to do it, 20-year proof. What would it take to dig it down, dig 4 to 5 feet of ground out and replace, just so at least we have a number. I mean, I think it's probably going to blow all of our minds, but it would be good to have that
Do
number.
you think that's two commas?
Say that one more time.
Is that 2 commas and is it $1 million or is that half a million? Like, what is, I don't
Just for Klepper, I don't think it would be just for Klepper, but God, it's hard to say. I mean, I would have to think that it would at least quadruple a quote for a road, having to dig down and do that much work. But that's just off the top of my head, knowing how much time it takes to dig that much dirt out and replace it with base and all that. Don't hold me to that number.
Are there any other roads in the city that you feel are in that much disrepair?
There's several. I mean,
Yes.
Buffalo Springs is definitely one of them.
Just asking.
Yep.
Ples Morgan is definitely one of them. I mean,
Fred Morgan is definitely one of them.
yeah, we definitely have some. Yeah, one of the things that I'm looking, just while we're on the subject of streets, if y'all want to hear it, I did find a company called Robotics. So I'd looked over the years about different street assessment software programs where the truck will come out, scan the roads for you and all that stuff. It's expensive. But I found one, got a flyer in the mail. It's a company called Robotics that does this, and you do the assessment yourself with a smartphone in the dash, and you drive a route that they provide for you. You send them all the information, and they give you an assessment. I thought that would be a good tool for budgeting season to be able to show council the streets and show what's red, what's orange, what's green, for basic conversation purposes. It's about $5,000 to do it, one time, and then you pay, I think it's $1,200 a year to maintain the inventory, and then you can add to it after that. But that's dirt cheap compared to some other ones that I've looked at.
So the $5,000 up front would be just the program, is that correct?
No, that's the full, so that is us. So I sent them a GIS shape file of all of our streets. We are under the 50 center line mile minimum, which equals $5,000, and that does the full assessment. So we drive around ourselves and take the video, upload the video to them, and then they send us a full assessment. And I mean, I sat through a Teams meeting with the guy, and he showed me the demonstration of actually side-by-side driving down the road versus what their assessment looked like. I mean, it looks like, it doesn't look like snake oil. It looks like a pretty spot-on product for, under the circumstances of using a smartphone for the assessment. But
Yeah.
But Tracy told me years ago, the guy who used to work for Metter, he told me years ago, he said, man, you know your roads. A simple 1, 2, 3 numbering system, works, but I think this is a good tool to aid with having a good
Well, consider the fact.
overall view of what kind of conditions.
So you'll have that assessment, or you do have it already?
I'm in the process of working through the agreement with them and getting the ball rolling on it.
Did you talk to any other cities that have used it, just to get feedback?
Not this particular one. I've talked to other companies, but some of the other companies, I said some of the companies wouldn't even touch us with the mileage. They wanted us to find another city to partner with.
No, I just want to know the one that, 5,000 doesn't sound that expensive.
It's very
I'm in IT, right. So I'm like, have you talked to anybody that's used it? Because there's nothing like using it and then it's worthless.
Yeah, no, I haven't physically talked to anybody about it yet, but we haven't signed up for anything yet. We're looking at it and seeing, I mean, it looks good, but I think the biggest savings is they're not sending a $250,000 rig out to drive around for a couple of days with a couple of guys, and that's where the biggest expense comes from on these other companies. That we're doing the assessment, they're just taking the information and putting it into the format that we need to evaluate it. So.
Very good.
Thank you for getting the city sign downtown fixed.
You bet.
Thank you.
That was a learning experience. We had to sit on customer service with Think Sign, and they walked us through what to check and everything, and then we got the car ordered and got it back and going.
Thank you.
We learned a little bit from it for sure.
Also,
I can't talk about whatever y'all want.
Hey, Myron.
Also, we want to thank you and your crew for jumping on getting that boring crew out there
yes.
and getting that project completed quickly
For the force main?
for the
Yes.
pipe that was washed out again.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That
got
was-
lots of good comments. So.
Yeah, so we actually, the boring company finished that on Friday. We spent yesterday getting everything dug up and prepped, and then today we did the tie-in. So it is 100% operational now. The pipe that you see in the creek now is dead. It does not have anything live flowing through it. And then Friday, I'm sure y'all heard about the water leak.
And we had a lot of good comments on this city getting on it as best can. Thank you, Gary, and other staff who were involved in that.
Yes.
And Eric stepped up, I guess, at the time.
100% as
And
usual.
so if council doesn't have anything else, I'd have something I need to address with Mike. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, we established this week to acknowledge Public Works Week. And toward that end, this council would like for you, Mike, to take your crew out at your discretion to lunch, wherever you so choose. And so I'd like to give you a round of applause and also make that possible so you wouldn't have to spend your own money.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Appreciate all your crews.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I take back some on there.
You have permission to spend that all in one place.
I just wanted to say, I take no credit for Friday. I was out of town at my son's state fishing tournament, had no cell reception, and at one point in the day, it was right after 4:30, my phone blew up all at once with every text message and every missed call from the event. I called Eric to find out what was going on, and we have a running joke in our department. Every time I go out of town for something major happens. I'm not kidding you. And he always handles it to a T, and I definitely have a good team in place and have the right guys. I don't know if y'all know it, but there was actually only 3 employees on that day. So I was off, Bryce was off, and Juan was actually out hurt. So it was just Eric, Ryan, and Juan, and they jumped on and handled it. And
They were on it.
got it
Thanks,
fixed.
sir.
So,
We
yeah,
appreciate
definitely. I
And
got
that
a
was
good
to the
crew.
cable company?
That
Yes.
was Midpoint, Mid-South.
Mid-South, yeah, it was a contractor for them, but, yeah. So they did everything they knew to do and got it back up and operational a lot faster than I expected them to. I mean, that's a big job.
Good job.
Yeah, appreciate them for sure.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Item 15, Utility Operations Report, H2O.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This will be your operations report for the month of April 2023. We had one district alert for on April 7th due to a high wet well at lift station 5, which is just down the road from here by the Napa Auto. Pumps will not kick on, found rag buildup on the floats. They were able to get it all cleaned up, got the pump right back running, no issues. That, the next page will be your wastewater plant flow detail. Your daily peak flow for this month was 787,000 gallons. You can see the spike on the chart right around the 6. We had a lot of rain, I coming into the system. Your daily average flow was 265,000 gallons, which is right about 66% of the permitted value.
Is 75% capacity, is that's when we start looking at getting another water tower and adding?
For the wastewater treatment plant, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's where you have to start.
So we're getting close.
Yes, ma'am. I believe your engineers are already ahead of the game on that one. They're doing a great job. Next page will be your discharge limit from the wastewater treatment plant. You had no excursions. We were able to meet the permit on the sewage leaving the plant. The next page will be the water report. We pumped a total of 11.04 million gallons. We accounted for 10.926 million for a rate of 94%. On the page will be your groundwater production chart. So it says the same thing, 11.04 million gallons produced. And the final page on 7 is your accountability with its rolling 12-month number, which 94% is very good. I mean, once you hit over 95%, the state considers that excellent.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add one thing while he was up here with his report. The efforts that were done today on the tie-in for the force main were not just public work, so that was coordinated with H2O. They had a couple of crews on site. They coordinated all of the Vector trucks to be there. They coordinated the lift stations being shut down. It was many, many people today, but H2O played a big part in it. Just want to make sure they got their credit for it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chief, you can have an extra minute if you desire.
Oh, no, I'm good. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Item 16, go ahead.
You have the report. Do you have any questions or answers?
There's 9 accidents you reported. Are any of those in one particular location?
No, they're
More than
not.
another? Okay.
No. We kind of spread it out.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was a spot we needed to pay attention to. Or
No, it's just getting crowded. And these accidents have come down a lot from last year. We were in double digits a lot, so they've come down a lot.
just as long as there's not a hot spot.
Right. Where do we sit with your employee status? How are we? Have we lost any more?
No, we're actually we've got 4 officers in training. 3 of those guys have prior experience. We'll be sending our first police officer to academy on the 30th. Be going to the academy at the county. It's going to be our first experience. We're taking a rookie right out of college, putting them into a police academy. And
About that, we pay for that academy?
yes, sir. The academy's like $600, and then we'll pay them while they're in the academy. And then after the academy, they pass the academy, then we'll go from there.
Gotcha.
I think I saw a new flock camera.
We, no, flock cameras were moved. TechStop moved some of the cameras, so they had to come back out and put them up. So it looks like they moved them a little bit
I see.
over, but they won't, it won't interfere with the reading of license plates.
Okay.
I was gonna say, that hasn't been on the agenda.
No. Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Item 17, city engineers report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Y'all have a copy of our report in your packet. I'll go through and hit some of the high points. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to let me know as I go. Item 1 on the capital projects is the water plant number 3 improvements. This was addressed as an earlier agenda item. We're going to continue to coordinate with the Water Development Board to get this closed out and completed. GLO projects were also addressed as an earlier item. We're going to continue to work with staff and grant works to get these completely closed out and finished up. Item 3 on your 15-year infrastructure plan, we completed a sanitary sewer analysis to look at the wastewater treatment plant capacity and start planning for the future. So this is something that came up in Jacob's report as well. This is an analysis to look at the future and options for where would a wastewater treatment plant expanded facility go. This draft has been provided to the TORC, so they are reviewing it. I had a phone call today with them to go through a couple of questions. We're going to meet next week to discuss the analysis and a couple other items as well. The plan is to address all of their comments and present it to you at your June 13th council meeting. Going on to the next page, item 8 on here is the downtown sanitary sewer rehabilitation. We did receive pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $99,864. What went into this was also receiving and reviewing their post-rehab videos to ensure that all the work was done. Since it's a mostly underground project, this is the best way that we have to quality check their work and make sure that it was done completely. We do have a final walkthrough scheduled for tomorrow with the contractor to prepare the punch list. We're already aware of some site restoration issues that are at the top of the punch list already, as well as anything else that we note tomorrow. Item number 9 is the 2023 sanitary sewer rehabilitation. So this project we discussed with staff ended up being split into 2 phases. Phase 1 being the primary bulk of the sanitary sewer rehab being your CIPP lining, your manhole rehabilitation, point repairs, things like that. The second phase is going to be the pipe bursting. There's a stretch of line that needs to be upsized from 8 or 10 inches up to 12. That portion was decided to be pulled separately and done as a separate project so that the lining work, the manhole repairs, could get started sooner. Go ahead and get that going. The pipe bursting portion does need to go through TechStop review, so we understand there's going to be a delay. We also want to get the rehab going on the rest of the system. For the portion that is bidding, we began advertising that project on May 11th. We are planning to hold a pre-bid meeting on May 25th, so this Thursday, and we plan to receive bids next Thursday to bring those back to you at your June 13th council meeting as well. Now, before the project bids, we did prepare a final pre-bid cost estimate so that we kind of have an idea of what are we looking at before we receive bids. And again, this is an estimate, kind of our best guess of what the market is going to be. So the cost estimate that we prepared came in, so your budget for this project is $500,000. The pre-bid estimate that we have is at $501,000. So we're also adding in a couple of alternate bid items so that if prices come in lower, we've got some additional work lined up that we can authorize for the contractor to do. This project will likely cross fiscal years as far as pay estimates, so that full $500,000 is not likely to be spent in this fiscal year. You'll see it again in next year's budget as well. So just wanted to make y'all
Quick
aware.
question on your item 9. Jeff, since you're sitting here, when we had all this water, these big rains, that manhole that's in your backyard, did it go underwater again?
No, sir, not at all. The only time we're going to see that is 2016, the World Day flood, Cascade flood. Even the Hurricane Harvey, it wasn't a problem. Thank you for asking.
Going on to item number 11, Flagship Boulevard. So as a reminder, this was awarded last council meeting, and we held a pre-con on May 18th and issued the notice to proceed to the contractor at that time. The contracts were signed tonight by the mayor. That was a previously authorized item to be done, and they are scheduled to begin construction on Monday. So as soon as school lets out, they're going to be getting started work through the summer, and their contract is set to end right around the time the school is getting started again. Plan reviews are listed below. A couple of items that I wanted to point out are the MISD plan reviews. So for the Lincoln Elementary renovations, Montgomery Elementary renovations, both of those plan sets were approved so they can begin work as soon as school lets out. Going on to the next page, is page 3 of my report, is the athletic complex improvements. We received revised plans on May 16th, and we're wrapping up our review to those to get them back over to their engineers as well. A couple of other plan reviews listed, and our plat reviews, not a whole lot of movement on plats this past month. And then going down to section 3 is the ongoing construction. Montgomery Bend is continuing with their mass grading, detention, and off-site water line. So on the picture on the next page of my report is actually a picture of the tie-in in Terra Vista Circle. So this is what's called a tapping sleeve and valve, and that is where they have connected their water line into Terra Vista. As a reminder, they will also have a connection off of 1097. We wanted to make sure that there was a dual connections to supply water to Montgomery Bend so that they're not just feeding off of one line.
Good.
Going into general ongoing activities, in the text dot section, change is that we did receive a draft exhibit of their proposed easement locations for their Atkins Creek improvement project off of 1097. This isn't the final exhibit, they said, but it at least gives us something to start discussing with staff and begin preliminary conversations with the property owners, try to get those going as soon as possible.
Are they aware that all that property is for sale? And they're actually considering it's industrial now, maybe even residential, which is going to add additional concrete, which means additional water, which means additional erosion.
I'm not sure if TxDOT is aware of that. I'm sure they're keeping an eye on what's going on around there, though. Other item that I wanted to mention on here is the emergency preparedness plan. So as a reminder, this was submitted to the state last year. We never did receive any comments back. This is kind of across the board in all entities that we haven't received much communication back from the state. In the interest of hurricane season beginning officially on June 1st, we're taking another look at your emergency preparedness plan, make sure contact information is up to date and everything is ready to go before an event strikes. Going on to page 5 of our report, the Lone Star Parkway Bridge repair. This project was awarded to Rebel contractors at the Commissioners Court May 9th meeting. The county has not yet requested the city's share of the project, but we're expecting that request to come soon.
I was at that meeting. They stated that we were $100,000 was our responsibility. Did we have any say in who the contractor was that they awarded?
We did not.
Have we been involved at all in this?
We were allowed to review the plans. We provided our comments and our feedback. They did address our comments. So we were involved in the plan review process.
Since we're paying for it, can we get the plans from Commissioner Walker's office?
Yeah.
You have them? Okay.
Do we know where this contractor's out of? Is he local?
They're local.
They're Willis.
Willis. Oh, no.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. No.
I don't know whose family member it is.
Oh, no.
I do. Yes, I do.
That is not,
I know. And so that's why I wanted to know if we had any say in it. Since we're spending money, I think that we should have had at least a say or a voice at the table. That doesn't sit well.
The last item I had on here was your TWDB annual reporting. Since you're receiving loans from the Texas Water Development Board, this is an annual requirement. There's a whole laundry list of updates and documents that need to be submitted by May 1st. I just wanted to update you that we did get those submitted on April 28th, so you are in compliance with the Water Development Board.
Another question about number 5, sorry. So this is massive erosion. I mean, I've documented pictures and pictures over the time. If something fails, who's responsible? Is it the county or is it us? Because we have a $100,000 obligation to this project, and we had no voice. And I just want to make sure that, one, we're not liable, because that situation is serious in my mind. And that bridge fails and somebody gets hurt or dies. I know that's a county road, but since we now have money invested, are we 10% responsible? Are we 50% responsible?
I'd have to go back and look at the interlocal agreement and determine, but typically, we would not be responsible. It's a county road.
Yeah, but it's our dirt.
Unless the agreement says that we're responsible, which I doubt it does, then we're off the hook.
I think we took that line out of it, didn't we? We took that out of there.
Yeah, they said that we were going to be responsible. They typically do.
Part of the original agreement structure was after the repair is complete, the county would turn over all responsibility of the roadway to the city.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was taken out of the agreement.
Yes.
Yeah, because we didn't want that down the road.
But also, if the county is doing that and they awarded rebel contractors, they've got a bond, surely. If we have a failure, the bond.
Right.
We haven't seen any paperwork.
There is a bond.
Right.
They have to have a bond.
It was a publicly bid
that's a law.
project.
They have to have
The contract is through the county, so they're required to have performance and payment bonds just like you are. Typically, the road requires also have a one-year maintenance bond after the fact. There's a lot, and as y'all know, how quickly that area is changing. So, we've asked and received a response last night that they should have a full construction schedule tomorrow from the contractor, so we can let you know. We requested we involve the pre-construction meeting and kind of.
Could we get a copy of their bonding agreement?
We can request it.
And how about their bids? Did y'all even see any of the bids?
We received the bid summary, which showed the 5 or 6 different contractors and their bid amounts.
I couldn't find it on their website, so I was curious.
$490, I think, was low, somewhere in that range, up to $700,000, $800,000. I can pull it up here in a second.
So I do have a question about that. I know that the liability and everything falls on the county, but at project completion, do we have a say on whether or not we accept it?
I don't remember.
I would need to look at the specifics of that agreement. I believe that the agreement was pretty well that the city was a funding partner, but the actual contract was through the county. Bonds and everything was through the county. Again, we'll be, part of it like we have been with the front end, but as far as, the final say, I believe that will come from the county. But Caleb and I will touch base tomorrow and go back and review the agreement.
Just to sign off, yeah, we accept it, or no, we never accepted. It was a hunk of junk when they finished again, right?
I think we've heard from council, and I had the same thing. I took pictures of the erosion as well and sent it to one or two of you. I think Stan was with me at the time, and the erosion is formidable. It is concerning in that whole area right there. So I think you're hearing the heart of all of us and all the citizens, that we want to make sure that we have a strong voice in terms of who's taking culpability there, and that they're doing it right.
So to answer your question, before I sit back down again, bids range from 471 400, 743 to Rebel, and a high bid of $1,017,081.
That's a big
That's a big
jump. So what is,
five bidders.
that's a delta.
You had 400, 471, 676, 712, and $1 million.
And what was Rebels again?
Rebel was 400.
So we've done cheap before, and we got stumped.
Somebody's using Lego blocks or something.
Yeah.
Wow. I cannot believe that.
Okay.
Hopefully we didn't get a say in the contractors, at least have somebody there representing us if we're spending money.
Yeah.
Does the
That is
county actually
amazing.
have some type of requirement that they do take the lowest bid?
It's state law, it's lowest responsible bidder, and there's multiple factors that go into that.
Multiple factors in that, yes.
That go into that consideration.
Yeah.
But you'll know when they're going to start this job.
Yes,
You'll
they're
know
gonna send
the
us-
day they're going to be there, on site.
We will make sure to stay in touch with them.
Responsibility to analyze the bid versus.
Anything else?
So it's easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
All you have to do is do a change
Thank you.
request and they work through and pump it up.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's it, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 18, City Administrator's Report.
A couple of highlights over the past month or so, and this report's in your packet if you want to follow along. We did complete the annual audit, and it's now posted to the website. With regard to the finance office, we published a job ad for the vacancy some time ago, and the position is open until filled. We've got 10 applicants right now. I did do a preliminary review. I think maybe 2 or 3 will probably meet the minimum qualifications, and we're going to start interviewing likely next week. We don't have a closing date on this job. Again, it's posted until filled, but I think I put in there that I wanted to have all the resumes in to me by next Friday. Actually, this Friday. So we're going to start interviewing. We've got Carl Curry from Strategic Government Resources, SGR. He's our interim finance director. He started yesterday. I think what we'll do is, as we're setting up the individual meetings, I sent you guys an email today just to set up those meetings. I'll just have Carl join us. You guys can meet him, ask him whatever questions you want to ask him, and he can kind of give you his lay of the land so far. I would have had him here tonight. The problem is, by contract, if he's here, we got to pay him per diem. We got to pay him extra, so I'm going to try to keep that from happening. So we'll try to do things during working hours.
Is he just to make sure that the lights stay on, fill the gap until we get, or is he helping us find the missing dollars or whatever the budget that?
So that's already done, that was done in the audit.
Yeah, that was done.
Yeah, so Carl's role basically is to fill the position. I mean, we've talked, and I want him, the contract says he's the interim, and he's going to fill the position and do the things we need him to do statutorily, make sure we're pointing in the right direction. I want to also use Carl to kind of take a look at our policies, our processes. He's right now digging into our systems. So I want to get his assessment on things and, document that stuff and make sure that we're moving forward in the right way. He'll be here probably 2 to 3 months while we recruit and onboard the next finance director. And I'll keep you posted on that as that evolves. We did create a finance advisory team after, if you remember, a couple months ago, we talked about the budget and a couple line item overruns. Wanted to dig into that a little bit to find out how that happened and put some controls in place to make sure we don't do that again. We did complete that. We looked at all those overruns. We put a couple measures in place that we're going to work with Carl to implement over the next couple weeks. And it's basically just some forms that prompt us to fill out before we make an expense, and that should handle the problem. I met with the Montgomery Historical Society a couple times over the last couple months just to meet them, discuss priorities that they have, discuss what's going on with the city and how we can work together. I thought those were very good meetings, and I want to continue to do that with all the other organizations. We had a joint meeting following that with the representatives of the Historical Society, NEDC, the Chamber of Commerce, and the downtown businesses here at City Hall, just to informally discuss our relationships over the years, things that went wrong, things that worked right, how we're going to work together in the future, just kind of maybe air out whatever differences we have and how we work together to make sure that we're, again, moving forward together in the right direction. I thought it was a great meeting. Carol and Cheryl were there. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I thought it was a good first step for us to start moving forward together on some of these events.
Real good meeting.
Met individually, and I'll keep doing this as time allows. I'm meeting individually with the downtown businesses and the other businesses within the city to discuss their priorities, answer their questions about the city, and just start building that relationship between my office and them. And that's really about it. I'll answer whatever questions you guys have.
I think those relationship building efforts will pay off over time. We certainly appreciate that. The congressional updates, we appreciate that as well. That's been ongoing, not just in this report. Gary has kept us up with things to expect. Just in a nutshell, you review those things. There is a war going on, as there typically can be. There seems to be the intent to remove or disrupt local control of what cities can do, countered by Senator Betancourt and others fighting that back. I've seen it in education before. pray for, work for, lobby for, whatever you need to do for local control, because we've had enough of it taken away from us, and it's a very helpless type of feeling. So cities need to be able to locally decide what's best for themselves, and so vote that way.
So these are pretty aggressive. Are you, the name Betancourt, he's for this? This is his bill?
This is his counter to that bill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everything that they proposed, he's counter-proposed
These
to
are
keep that
aggressive.
from happening.
Okay.
He's been very out there in front. Anyway, we appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Keep
Just to
this
get
up.
your understood.
Yep. All right, so entertain a motion to approve departmental reports items 13 through 18.
I'll make that motion.
Carol's motion, we have a second. Second is by Casey. Motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. All in favor of approving departmental reports as presented, items 13 through 18, say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. And we will approve the departmental reports as presented. Executive session, adjourned into closed session in compliance with Chapter 551 ETSEQ.Texas Government Code, to wit, 551.071, consultation with attorney, Town Creek hydrology issue, and 551.071, consultation with attorney, Redbird Development Agreement. It is 7:26, and we are adjourned into executive session.
Hey, I had a great idea.
As you well know, that's a lot of 551.
I was gonna ask Bradley, but I.
Yeah, the way he slipped on that. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
That's what he does.
Okay, you ready, Don? All right. It is 8:35. We return from executive session. Does council have a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to do nothing on item number 1, and item number 2, a motion to approve item discussed in executive session.
Okay, motion by Sarah. Do we have a second?
Second?
Seconded by Cheryl. The motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. All in favor of no motion on item 1, but to carry on with item 2, Redbird Development Agreement, say yes.
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 Anyone opposed, say no, and we will approve as stated. All right, council inquiry.
So I do have an inquiry. It concerns item 12, previously discussed tonight, considering the resolution supporting the City of Montgomery's application to transportation alternatives set aside for projects. I briefly visited with Dave about that, and it has to do with walkways and whatever, right? Trails. We have a project, and our issue is we don't have a plan, but we do have a project that we have a plan for that maybe some slight changes, we could call it the whole thing a walkway, and maybe submit it. And I don't know, Dave, we didn't have time to finish talking about it, but what do you think about that? What is your thoughts? If we turn the whole McCollum project, because it is a walkway, if we turn it in for a grant?
Our biggest challenge would be changing from the preliminary application to the detailed application. So basically, we put in a placeholder for a mobility plan. That's what they said, yep, we'll let you submit a detailed application on. But if we change that now, they're going to say this is the same application.
I guess I thought those were two different submittals. These are two different submittals. Submit the same project twice.
We didn't submit a preliminary application for a McCown Street project, would be our challenge now.
But we have till June 1st, right?
To submit the detailed application.
Oh, the
So
detailed.
basically, they vet your preliminary app, and they said, this looks good enough, we're going to let you submit the detailed application.
I got you.
So we are locked in on that until.
All right, so we missed that one. I got you.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that.
It was about the submitting a portion of the McCown Street improvements, whether that would be
A walkway.
a whole scope change, I think, to what Casey was alluding to, where the entire street becomes a pedestrian space, to use the grant dollars from TxDOT, and that's certainly something that we can do, in future cycles. We can say, hey, yeah, we've got a shovel-ready project, we've got a project that is designed, it's in a plan, it's in a downtown master plan, we can include that as part of it.
Yeah, 'cause I would like pavers all the way to the community building. Just, I'm window shopping.
Well, there's pavers halfway there now.
There are, but they're not all the way.
Not all the way.
I want them all the way.
So a motion for Cheryl to pay for that. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I even got pavers on my driveway, which I wanted, but he got the downtown.
Any other inquiries? Welcome to the newbies, especially the newbie, Mr. Donaldson. Ricky on the block, and Sarah, Mr. Return. It's good to have you back. All right, entertain a motion to dismiss.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Carol, and I'll take Cheryl's as a second. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
And it is 8:39, and we are adjourned.
Sweet, that's my dad.
Don't forget to sign your papers with Diana.
On that drive.